Hello, and welcome to my thoughts while standing in the queue. I was standing in the queue at the railway station trying to get away from where I am, and while I was standing there, I was thinking about the things we expose our children to. There's a dominatrix named Miss Eveline from Kent who invited all her neighbors to tea because she wanted them to see that the activities in her dungeon were perfectly fine for others to observe and were very PC. The residents of this little village in Kent were worried because her dungeon is right on the main street, and they're afraid that the children will get the wrong idea when they see the people coming out of her dungeon exhausted, black and blue, and beaten to a pulp. I think that Miss Eveline has the right idea. It's important for us to see that the activities in a dungeon are perfectly fine and the kind of thing we actually see every day in many different forms. I mean, there are some women who really could think of nothing they would like better than to be dangling from a ceiling on a rope. And there are other people that love the idea of being whipped by their best friend. It makes them see how strong their friendship really is. Human nature takes on so many different forms, doesn't it? There is the problem, though, of what we expose our children to. But I always say that children need to learn the many facets there are of human nature, and they have to learn to be equipped to cope with it. They have to learn that sometimes their playmates are going to want to shove their ice cream cone right up their keister, and they have to learn that others will enjoy skinning their knees or dropping them from a bicycle and jumping on top of their head. It's all in how you're brought up, isn't it? It really is. I mean, in my family, we never thought of clamping a handcuff around my father's penis and tightening it until he screamed. It just wasn't done. We were more prone to stuffing potato pancakes down your throat until you cried in pain, or pouring chicken soup in you until you said, "Enough, enough." Every family devises its own form of torture, doesn't it? Actually, though, I wouldn't have minded being invited to Miss Eveline's for tea and to see some of these activities. I think it's terribly important for me to understand that civilization has taken a few unexpected turns since I was a girl. I know that I hold my own standards very high, and I have certain standards of behavior that simply I will not forsake. For example, I prefer romping through the daisies with my playmate rather than tying him up in the stocks and then whipping him until he screams. It just is not my idea of fun. But I'm open to seeing how others enjoy themselves. And I have to say that if Miss Eveline puts on a good tea, I probably would be her slave forever. And if she gives me strawberry jam, listen, darling, I'm hers. And thank you so much for joining me in my thoughts while standing in the queue.